they would be in the locker room, and Arnie would just be full naked, just not give a fuck. Like, just helicopter dick, right? You know what I'm saying? Just swinging this shit around, helicopter dicking, like, throughout the whole entire locker room. If I did that shit, it would look like a mini pinwheel that you blow, just move it around like that.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort. Stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words. I done popped the Molly and I think it's
So, what is in that pineapple on that table? Is that like an air freshener or
Change.
It's
like I'll put all my coins in there.
a piggy bank.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got it. Some drink. When I went to some bar in Tampa, they were selling drinks out of it. So I just took one home.
Ooh.
Well, you're allowed to take them home.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law stole a Moscow Mule Cup, but like a big one.
I
Like a
once
jumbo.
walked out of a bar in college with a full 40-ounce beer in the mug.
Fuck yeah.
Let's put it in my coat jacket and walked out and drank it on the walk home. I still have the mug.
Okay, I'm ready when you guys are.
All right. What is going on, DJ Nation? Kenny Kim here, bringing you another Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast this week for, I don't know, the ZOZO. That's right. We're deep in the doldrums of the fall swing. But this one's actually a pretty good one, as usual. I am here with everybody's favorite South African, Byron Lindeque. Byron, what is up, my friend?
Not a whole lot, Kenny. Watched some golf. A little disappointed in Taylor Pendrith, but, looking forward to... Falling asleep to golf is really fun. So looking forward to the ZOZO this week. Sure.
Yeah. Night golf is always fun. Remember, lock is like 11, 10, 9, something on Wednesday, maybe even earlier. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked yet, so make sure you double check that. But before we move on, let's pay some homage to our sponsors at Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Mayo. Get yourself a deposit bonus up to $1,000. Yes, $1,000 for all new signups. Make sure you go check it out. I've won a shit ton of money on there this week. This past week, didn't win, but I only played one round because it was so fucked up with the wind and all that stuff. They couldn't have the numbers. They didn't have all the numbers, which is probably smart. Like when it goes in those type of windy conditions, it can go one way or the other. It can go bad for the consumer or bad for the book. So they just sort of stayed off of that with the weather that we had, and they were doing like placements basically, except for like one round. One round they actually had it. I think that was round one, and it didn't come through. We'll talk more on Underdog as we move on. But yes, JT Poston was his third win of the year. Really solid. I mean, he just played excellent golf and was miles ahead of everyone until the end. It got a little bit close with Seaweed Doug coming in and making that birdie on 18 to at least make it a little bit of a knee knocker on that 4-footer that Poston had on 18 to finally end up winning the event. Solid week for him. I had a
Did you
bunch
say
of him.
it's of his career, right? Third win of his career.
Yeah.
You said of the year, I think. I don't know.
No, my bad. Of his career. Yeah, third of the year he probably would be playing this.
No.
He would not have played last week if he probably already had 3. But I think he's already in the top 52, so maybe he would have.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe it's just an event that he enjoys. It's very, very possible. But really solid work by JT. Seaweed Doug in second. Manny Schmid was one of the bets that I had. Did you have him as a bet too?
No, Schmatty. No.
So I had Matty Schmid. He got me a place. I also had Pendrith, who was solo 8th. So I got paid out full for that each way. Got that. So 2 each ways there. I actually bet a single bullet on Rico Hui in the
Live?
first round leader. He came in second. Yep. He came in second, but it was chopped to death. But that is each way wins number 33, number 34, and number 35 of the year for me. Still with only 7 outrights, should be 8. I'm still bitter about that Hideki a couple of months ago and me getting off and thinking he was injured. Still bitter. Still think about that more than the other 7 wins because that's how fucking golf is when you bet on the event. Other guys that played well, Gary Woodland looking strong. Rico Hui, again, really, really solid. I had Hui and Schmid as my 2 non-cash game cornerstone picks. So that worked
baby.
pretty well. Even with the I had the Cole miscut, but hopefully you guys checked out my article on Gup's corner, because I did make a change with Cam Davis, taking him out of my lineups and my cornerstones and putting in Harry Hall. So I basically won every double up, which, really doesn't matter because they are double up. So you're going to you double your money if you're first or if you're in 50th out of 100, right? So it really didn't matter. It finished like top 500 in GPPs, my cash lineup, even with the Cole miscut. So a couple back-to-back really, really strong weeks for me in cash. In betting wise, it was solid. Again, did not hit an underdog, but the weather should be nice this week. I hope they bring stuff out early because it is a earlier. I know they've been putting stuff out on Wednesday, so we'll see when they bring stuff out. I will have it if it's out tomorrow on Tuesday. Make sure you join Back Nine Bets over on the Mayo Media Network, hosted by our very own Byron Lindeque. We'll start that show every week if it's out with Underdog play. So make sure you go check it out, 7 p.m. Eastern, live on Mayo Media Network. Every single Tuesday, there is a golf event. Byron will be putting on his show. And if the Underdog is out by then, I will be joining for the first 10 minutes, and we'll go over our plays. If not, check out the Twitter feed, and make sure you go to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code Mayo once again, and jump on that because it's a great site. It's fun. I mean, like, it's strange how well I'm doing in it. And at this point in time, I don't know. Maybe the shoe is going to drop. We'll see. I'm hoping not, because all the losses I had, we'll speak about one loss, the first round loss I had. I hit the first two pretty easy. The last guy was a Kisner over 72.
He shot
higher than
70,
72. Right? It was higher than 72. I think he shot 70. He had his best round probably in a while. He hadn't broken 72 in about 3 events. So that it was probably karma, because I definitely stared at his wife's ass when I was at the airport in Montreal. I sat next to her. I didn't know who she was at that moment in time when I sat next to her, but she got up, bent over to get something in her bag. And she had a nice butt, so I looked. And so maybe that's karma.
Ain't no hobby, baby.
Either that and me talking shit about Kisner for the last 6 months might have caught up to me.
You still missed the cut as well.
Yeah, I know. Well, because Tuesday was just the second I was just fuck around, right?
Yeah.
Because he had an afternoon tee time on Thursday, which was supposed to be a little bit windier. And while it was a little bit windy, these guys still scored out their ass, a lot of them. If you're striking the ball well on Thursday afternoon, you could still score. There was some 7s, some 6 unders, stuff like that in that PM wave. There was almost a 4-stroke advantage in the AM PM wave, because they didn't play Friday morning, which, I mean, okay, they played a Q school event, right? A qualifying Q school event, I think in Tempe, Arizona this past week. Go follow, what's his name? Monday Q.
Monday Q.
Yeah, Monday. Case of the Golf. I think that's his.
Case of the Golf 1, I think.
Yeah, a Case of the Golf 1. Make sure you follow him. But he was tracking the Monday Q for. He was trying to qualifier for the Q series event that the pros go through to try and get their cards, right? And I think they were playing with 45-mile-per-hour winds. There were some scores in the 90s. Lots of scores in the high 80s. We could have had that. We could have had that on Friday. It would have been great to watch. But, of course, golf, they pussify their golfers. They glad hand these golfers. They don't want them to look stupid. That's a part of, the whole thing now. Golfers aren't allowed to be embarrassed anymore, which is a shame, because golf is an embarrassing game. Golf, that's what golf is. You could be the best in the fucking world. You go out there and you could shoot fucking 8, right? We've seen it happen with some of the best golfers of all time, right? And to do that, because, I mean, all you got to do is you knew the wind was going to blow. It was in the forecast. I know we didn't go over it Monday because I don't normally look at the forecast till Wednesday night. Yeah. So if you want weather updates and shit, go on Byron on the best of your Tuesday night live show, or at Rotoball. For him, you can find my shit on at Gup's Corner, right, on Wednesdays with our final write up. And I did write about how there was a wave advantage, so I changed all my shit. And I totally forgot where I was going with this. So why don't you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, I'll just jump in, because you said that the golfers are a bunch of pussies and they didn't want to like let them play in the weather. But also golf is like one of the safest sports out there, Kenny. Like injuries are you're just going to get a random injury playing golf, your lower back, you tweak something, but it's safe. We got commercialized people out there in Vegas, right? So there's stands and big structures and cranes and all sorts of crap that I think is the issue. At the Q school, there's like 20 people watching everyone. There's no massive like structures that can blow onto crowds of people and just flatten them. So
yeah, but those things should be held up to 50-mile-per-hour winds. It's not like it was like a hurricane. Like 50 miles per hour is a lot, right?
Stuff
it's a lot.
Blows.
It's a lot. I guess. I understand what you're saying. Maybe it is an insurance thing. Maybe
it's definitely a thing.
But I think but they've played in this shit before. I mean, look at the shit that happened with when Brandt Snedeker won about 5, 6, 7 years ago at Riv, where he didn't even play on Monday. Remember? Like, he just played Sunday, finished Sunday, and everyone was shitting the bed and it was so windy, they had to come back Monday, and he still won. And winds were 40, 45 miles per hour that day. I mean, it's not like it hasn't happened before. When you go into the Bermudas or those events, we've seen 50-mile-per-hour gusts in those events. They don't give a fuck because there's no elite players playing those events. So if these shitty, quote-unquote, shittier golfers get embarrassed, so what? You just can't embarrass like the top guys. Like the top 50 in the world, you can't do. And it's a fucking shame because they knew the fucking weather was going to be the way it is, right? All you got to do is not let the greens grow. Let the greens grow during the week. Don't roll them. Don't make them 11.5 on the stem. Make them 9.5 so the balls don't move in the wind. It's not like the Shriners is like all hilly, undulating type, pretty flat greens, right? So let them play. Let's see what happens. It's bullshit. And the thing is, it's got to take money out of them too, because you have to give ticket refunds, right? You would expect, like, if somebody's canceled for the day and you only have tickets for that day and you can't make it Sunday or Monday, they got to give you your money back, right? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So if they do, which I think would be the right thing to do, we don't think the PGA does the right thing all the time, but that would be the right thing to do, right? And so they're losing money right there. And that money goes straight to the sponsors. So the sponsors got to be pissed, right? So they're more worried about the golfers and maybe the safety being embarrassed, golfers being embarrassed, than they are the sponsors, is what it looks like to me. I'd be pissed if I was fucking Shriners, right? I would be pissed. Okay? And like, you paid for your ticket, you go out and, okay, it's bad weather, who cares? There's no refunds for that, right? As long as the tournament's being played that day, right? I don't know. The pussification of America is just fucking crazy to me. Like, it's so fucking wild. Like, I don't understand the trajectory, like, of why the world is going this way. Like, I understand there's, like, stuff you shouldn't say. You don't want to hurt people's feelings, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I get that. There's words that I've taken out of my vocabulary because I know that they offend people nowadays, right? But just a whole thing about, I mean, everyone just being such a fucking pussy all the fucking time. Can't take a fucking joke ever, right? I mean, that's what fucking comedy is, right? You're supposed to make fun of, like, shit that's not funny. That's what comedy is. And, like, if you make a bad joke like that, it's so fucking frustrating living in this world at this moment in time. Like, that's why I love the show. And that's why I sort of like that not many people watch. Because I'll say whatever the fuck I want to say. All right? You know how liberating that is? Like, tiptoeing around your normal life every day and not having, that's why group texts with your boys are fucking wild. You say some wild ass shit because you got no other place you can say that shit to, right? Because you're not allowed to. You can't say what you feel. And it's such fucking bullshit. I hate that shit. I hate the way that's the way people are going. I don't understand it. And someone put a tweet out earlier today, like, it's a lot of people who watch, like, Family Guy and South Park grew up on that shit. That's the generation that's having these problems, right? Like, I don't understand. That's my TED Talk for the day, but fuck that shit, man. You're having to tiptoe in life and not be able to say what you want to say because you think you might get in trouble for it later when it's really not that fucking big of a deal. Like, I get like certain things, but overall,
Deshaun Watson,
in general, you should be able to let shit slide and laugh about.
Yeah.
Just keep it. Life is already difficult as fuck right now, right? Inflation, trying to pay your bills, trying to buy a house, trying to afford your marriage or your mortgage, right? That shit's all raise your children in this type of world that we're living in now. That shit's hard as fuck. That shit is hard as fuck. And now you got to add that you got to tiptoe around everything. You can't really say what you fucking feel anymore. And you got to tiptoe around people. Hey, that's such fucking bullshit. It's
Amen,
bullshit.
baby. Amen.
And
I agree with you.
Getting into sports. It's getting,
Yes.
what the shit that we love, right? It's all fucking changing. It's changing for the fucking worse. Okay? I understand that there's certain things you cannot say and you cannot do in these times now, right? But you got to be able to take a joke. You got to be able to make fun of it. Right? That's what people have been doing for years. That's how comedians has thrived for years.
Oh, yeah.
And now you can't say shit.
Well, you can, but you'll just get cancelled and fired. And I think, like in England, people are getting locked up for saying the most pathetic stuff. It is.
Okay. Oh, well, here's the thing. Like,
We're in America, we're cool. You know, like we're
well,
okay.
if you're saying stupid
all
shit
things
online, right? And you're an online keyboard fucking warrior who would never say that type of shit like in public, well, then fuck you. Go to jail. I don't give a fuck. Do it. I'm fine with that. 100% fine with that. Okay.
What's your take, Kenny, on
shit's different? Online shit's different, right? Because I don't know. I don't know where to begin and where to end on this topic.
What's your take on Deshaun? I'm curious because people were booing him off after he ruptured his Achilles.
Fine.
Because, yeah, and then Miles Garrett comes out there and like defends him.
Said something, right? Okay, some of those girls might be lying. Could be true. What if he did it one time? He's still a fucking rapist, right?
Yes.
Once, right? There's like 28 different fucking suits against him. One of them's got to be true, right? One of them's got to be true. So fuck him. Fans can say whatever the fuck he want. Now, the thing is, if I was a Browns fan and balled out because of sports, I'd probably be cool with them, okay? But I'm not. So, all right, so they can do whatever the fuck they want. That's fine with me. They paid the ticket, they can boo. I don't give a fuck, right? I mean, again, and the people like defending him and saying like, how do you boo someone? He's playing like ass first. Yeah, the worst contract in fucking history. Yeah. For a team that's been downtrodden, who's never won a Super Bowl, who I can't remember the last time they made the playoffs. These fans are like what I was last year for the 20 years prior. All right. And so by the time last year, like the last few years came, I hate watched, right? That's just what I did. I hate watched my team because I'm still going to watch. I'm still going to support by watching, but I know they suck. And I'm going to hate watch. And I got no problem with that. You paid him, boo the fuck out of me if you play like ass. You played like ass. All right. Take away the whole rapist thing. You played like ass. I mean, is it classy? No. But fuck it. These fans are have been downtrodden with no hope for decades. Decades.
But Kenny, you know who is one of the best people in the world is Jameis Winston. Like, there's a video.
That. You can't ride. I hope it doesn't ride his fucking. I like what he said. I understood what he said because it's his teammate.
It is his teammates. But he's also he in the alternate universe has got one of the biggest churches as a pastor out there. Like, he is meant to lead congregations of people, man. He's amazing. I love when he speaks. Whatever comes out of his mouth is like honest and true, and he's like speaking with his heart, man. It's so good, you know, like to have someone like that who's balancing out all this other shit. You know, like
what I like the most about him is because when he started his career, everyone just thought he was a fucking idiot because he was stealing crab legs and shit like that. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like if you come in based on that, you're gonna have a specific image problem, right? And he's gotten past that. That's definitely sure.
Oh.
Now, most of it is because he's a comedian and he doesn't know he's funny. Those are the funniest motherfuckers there are.
yes.
Like the people who don't think they're being funny, but they're actually the most hilarious person ever. That's Jameis. And everyone's caught on. Like he says everything that he means, and he's dumb, but it's hilarious.
It's
And it's wholesome, right? I mean,
wholesome.
Yeah.
So wholesome.
So his image is improved now. I just don't want him to fuck up again by back in. If he keeps saying that one time, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Don't bring it up again. Don't bring it up again because there's too much bad shit that can happen if you talk about the show, right? I mean, first off, look, man, I know that I might be guilty in going to places that Deshaun Watson might have gone to, and maybe it wanted the same things that he wanted to. But if I know it's not going to happen, I ain't going to force nobody to do it, right? I mean, that's it. Consent.
That's
Monetary consent. What fucking consent, right? I mean, I don't know, man.
fucking consent. Isn't that should be a thing we do.
Yeah, the world
anyway.
is going to shit. I don't know. It's crazy.
Deep breaths, boys.
What
Deep
else did I
breaths.
want to talk? I wanted to talk about something else before I went on that fucking tangent. Anything? Oh, let's talk more, just slightly more about politics right now, because I want to bring up what Donald Trump said about Arnold Palmer. That shit was hilarious.
What did he say?
You did not hear this? He's in
I
Latrobe,
have Trump,
Pennsylvania.
Biden, Kamala, all of that muted on X. So
in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, where Arnold Palmer was born, and they're talking about Arnie, right? And there's a long-standing story that Arnie has a monster cock, like just monstrous, right? Just super, like crazy,
just a dong.
monstrous cock. And basically, Trump was like, "You got a huge dick." Basically, said that shit about Arnie at like some type of town hall event in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania swing state, everyone's there right now. I thought that was hilarious,
dude.
Hey, people, I know people, and like the thing is, the story's backed up. I remember it was either Azinger or somebody else told a story where they would be in the locker room and Arnie would just be full naked, just not give a fuck, like just helicopter dick, right? You know what I'm saying? Just swinging his shit around, helicopter dicking, like throughout the whole entire locker room. If I did that shit, it would look like a mini pinwheel that you blow, just move it around like that, right? But his like, fucking, he's getting air and shit, like he's flying off the ground if he spins his dick fucking hard enough, right? So I guess it is a true story, right? It's a true story. And it was like, oh, how embarrassing for the Palmer family. Shit, that's not embarrassing.
Hey.
I want people to say that to me. I'd be hyped. It'd be a lie, but I'd be hyped. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to my grandpa. You know what I mean? Grandpa already had the hammer.
Yeah, he laid wood. Mrs. Palmer probably like this. Even after Kegel work and shit like that. Probably like this is what I heard. I thought that shit was hilarious. To bring a little bit of levity onto the show. I have Sam yelling for a little bit. God damn it. I laughed so hard when he said that shit. I almost lost it. And I could just imagine fucking Arnie, like, just tell it. I mean, the pictures you can get in your mind are fucking gross and hilarious at the same time.
Especially in his older age. But hey, you know what? Also,
hey, Viagra, baby.
Oh, well, you can just fold it in half and call it a day. But hey, when I was watching Sam Darnold get drafted, his grandpa's name was called Dick Hammer. Like, that's his grandpa's name. Like, legit. They said it.
That would be fucked up. Go ahead.
Yeah, they said it on NFL Network. It's like Sam Darnold's grandpa, Dick Hammer. I think he was like in the NFL or something, but it was just like, I'm just like watching my team try and draft another shit quarterback, and then I get like the random phrase Dick Hammer starting at me.
If you did not have a big dick,
you cannot have his name.
what was his name? Dick Hammer, right? Imagine seeing the girl. Like, I'm about to bang a dude who plays football named Dick Hammer. This shit's going to be monstrous, right? Like, the disappointment could be, like, ranging from, like, above average would probably be a disappointment, right?
Yeah.
To this girl. So, I mean, you better fucking lay that wood if you got that name. Like, I would have to change my name immediately.
Yes.
To, like, number 2 pencil or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Something. I would have to change my name immediately if that shit happens. All right. Anything else we need to talk about before we move on?
Fuck, I hope not. Jesus.
Okay.
Going off the rails, man.
All right. You know what? Like I said, you know what the funny thing is? This is probably going to be the most listened to show
Part of the show.
Of the fall because it's the ZOZO. The field's good. You got 13 of the top 50 in the world. So I'm guessing you're going to, all right, whatever. For the people that haven't been here in the fall, this is what you've been fucking getting. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now, last week we talked about Underdog. Round 1 strategy. Okay? A little difficult to do. Go back. It's on timestamps of last week's pod. If you want to go over my round 1 strategy for Underdog Fantasy, let's go over round 2. Definitely different than round 1 because you have something you can look at and something you can play with, right? What I correlate round 2 and probably round 3 is almost like you're playing Showdown, right?
Yeah.
But instead of trying to find like the gems, like what you're trying to find out is like a lower number that you think you can go higher or lower that usually for birdies or bogeys. So like what can happen is, let's say a golfer putts like ass. What is in the like 40th place after round 1, putts like shit, above average everywhere else, right? Right? But you check his normal stats, he's usually a good putter, right? He's normally a good putter. And so you see it, and maybe he shoots really bad that round or something, right? I don't like going with guys who shot something horrible, because that shit can stick in your head for multiple rounds, multiple days. So if guy plays like, shoots like 4 over or something like that, and the cut lines are like 1 or 2 under, I'm just going to avoid those type of plays. Okay. Now what I would like is a guy around the cut line, right? After round 1, that, we know for a fact is a good putter, and he putted shitty on day 1 and everything else looked good. Because what Underdog will normally do is they'll lower his birdie number, basically, for round 2 is what you'd want. So if he was 5 after day 1, he plays like shit, maybe he's 4.5, 4, something like that after day 1, right? And so you target golfers like that, just one, and then I like going back up to the top of the board because I like to play the momentum card, especially if you look previous week as well. I look at the previous week for the guys. Let's say a guy shoots, in the 4 rounds in the 60s last week. In round 1, he shoots 67, really good, top 20 on the board, right? And all his stats look good, especially the stats you're looking for. If it's an approach, really strong approach, game type, you check his strokes gain approach. If it's an off the tee thing where that's super important, check there, right? And then you go on, and if he played well that round, and the numbers looking good, I'll go back down again for an over and stuff like that. And again, you don't have to do the great thing about Underdog is for DFS you have to literally like look at everything. That's why we look at a lot before Monday, but that's why we need Tuesday and Wednesday to do our final stuff, right? Now in Underdog, just pick a couple of guys and focus on them. Like get a group of like 6 guys, 7 guys near the top of the leaderboard, and then find some, and then go into, Data Golf, which is a great site. It's basically the only site I use when I'm doing, at least
in stuff.
Tournament research, right? In tournament research.
Yes.
And so you go to Data Golf, you hit the shittiest putters on that, and you look and you find 3 or 4 guys who are shitty putters, but to hit the ball well, who normally aren't shitty putters. You take that list of 10 golfers, go into your Underdog site, check the lobby, and see what number fits, right? Sometimes they don't have all the golfers, but see what fits with those 10 guys. Like if you compare those 7 guys and they're all pretty even, and one guy's 4.5 birdies, not 5 birdies or higher, that's an easy play, right? That's an easy play to pick right there. And you have those guys already locked and loaded in whatever type of research you're doing. Just 7 guys, with the research you're doing, and 3 guys who, near the cut line who didn't putt. Now, one thing I did learn this past week is I think they might have changed the way they score because maybe it's just golf. I don't know, because I played NFL for the first time yesterday, and I tailed Pat Mayo, and I tailed the wrong one because he played on Sunday. He crushed the London game, won like $4,000 on the London game and on the main slate with like a $300 bet, right? He was really hot. So I was like, oh shit, I missed those, of course. So he put it out for the Sunday night game. And I tailed him. But what I realized, like all 3 were higher receptions, higher receiving yards. There were no lowers, right? And so I was like, okay, it's still 6 times. And then I took one guy out and put a lower. It was still 6 times. So I don't know if they changed it and I don't know if it's different in golf.
Well, it has to be, because it's the same environment. Like the environment for a football game is different to a golf course. Like if it's windy as fuck, everyone's going to suck. So choosing 2 different props is going to be much more difficult to pinpoint than a football game. Like one guy can be benched and go under or get hurt.
I haven't made an underdog play yet, so I'm gonna do some testing when the PGA comes out, and we'll see what happens. Because because the only reason I do the bogeys over and under or birdies over and under, and I try and find 2 and 1. So I usually do 2 guys higher, 1 guy lower, right?
Yeah.
And because back when I started playing, and even a month or 2 ago, if you did all 3 of the same higher, you would get like 4.2 times, right? But then if you did 2 and then 1 lower, it was like almost 6, right, times. So we'll see if that changed. I'll double check. But if it has changed, that changes everything too.
I doubt it though, Kenny. I think it's just football, probably.
Maybe it's just football. We'll see. Because that was the first time I ever played football on it. Because Pat was just fire. Make sure you follow at the PME. Make sure you get his newsletter as well, which has all of the his plays posted on his newsletter. Also subscribe to Mayo Media Network. We're almost at 50,000 subscribers. I know that's a goal Pat wants, so we will try and help him get to 50K. So make sure you go on YouTube, sign up make sure you subscribe to Mayo Media Network.
Before we get out of here with the segment, I want to just chime in. There are golfers. Golfers are head cases, man. Some of them, for instance, C.T. Pan, Joel Damon, Sam Stevens, Matt Kuchar. These guys all suck in round 1, but I just filtered on round 2, and they are all inside the top 15 in strokes gained in round 2. There's just some guys that, myself included, I'm a back 9 guy. That's why it's back 9 bets, also whatever. But I jam my best when I get like the ball rolling eventually. I take a while to warm up. Golfers are the same way. They play golf well on a Friday, and some play well on a Saturday. Some guys play well on like Thursday, Sunday.
And then you can go to the
can use my model
stat page and filter out first round scoring, second round scoring, third round scoring. I do that as well. So that's round 2, and specifically for Underdog this week. This course is no cupcake.
No, it's hard.
There's barely any golfers that have finished double-digit under par in the last 4 years. Like I'm thinking less than 20 in the last 4 years that have finished double-digit under par. So over bogeys or something like that, or under birdies. It seems like it would be the play. Now, one thing, but we'll talk about this a little more as we get to the course. They do a pretty good job of handicapping the numbers, because I really was curious about the wind, and they made the afternoon guys on Thursday a lot lower. For stuff. They made it a lot lower for birdies and a lot higher for bogeys and stuff like that. And so they are sharp. They're not. It's going to be difficult to really, really catch them. But You could maybe find 1 or 2 instances, especially when it comes to weather. That's another thing I missed on round 2. You got to pay attention to the weather. Big time, actually, in all rounds. Basically, that's a big deal, and we saw that play out last week at the Shriners. All right, let's go to commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll get some bets going. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I personally like the pick'em games. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. Can also make rivals picks, which pits 2 players against each other. Now, the reason I like the pick'em games is because of these things called scorchers. There's these little chili peppers next to the golfers' names, and if you click on that, it adds to your multiplier, so you can win even more money. Sign up today with promo code Mayo and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Must be 18 or over and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, we are back with our kickbackgolf.com betting segment. Go to kickbackgolf.com, use promo code FGD15. Get yourself a 15% discount on all of their cool merchandise, all of their products. I'm rocking the Sung J M Korea jersey. I don't want to turn around right now, but it has his name on the back. Everyone's curious about why the number, why 62 on a lot of these. So for a lot of these golfer jerseys, it's their lowest score ever on tour. That's how they get the numbers for these jerseys. But of course, they got Sung Jae, they got Siwoo, they got Scheffler, they got DJ, they got Koepka, they got Bryson, they got Spieth, they got Tiger, they got every person that you want, all the cool gear, baseball jerseys and basketball jerseys. Really, really cool stuff. Make sure you go to kickbackgolf.com, use promo code FGD15. All right, let's get to our bets for the week. Byron, what are you doing this week?
Kenny, I was at the President's Cup, and I had a transformation. I had a come into Jesus moment. Hideki Matsuyama plus 850 at BetMGM. Let's go. That's my outright. Rolling with him. If I find a few guys, a big name like Xander that gets off to a slow start and maybe drops to like 30, 35 to 1 somehow, I'll add that to the end of the card. But I'm single bulleting Hideki Matsuyama. He's finished first year. He's finished second year in the last like 4 or 5 years. And he has been putting well. He putted lights out at the President's Cup. He's been putting fantastic leading into the Tour Championship. I think he had 3 consecutive tournaments where he was just crushing with the putter in Japan. I mean, this guy's having himself a year right now. I'm going to roll with that momentum, keeping it simple. You know, I kind of took a while to kind of figure out where I'm going at the outright market. Hideki's my guy this week. I've usually hate this dude, but man, he's come over to me a little bit, and I'm in the mood. I think this he's playing some great golf. He plays great golf every round. This kind of a ball striking paradise is exactly where you want to go with Hideki.
That's going to be you're rolling solo bullet.
Solo bullet. I'll look for like a Xander or Sahith who drops down a little bit, and then probably go grab him after round 1 or so.
Yeah, you said you were trying to get some live bets going. I think that's a good idea. I'm down for Hideki as well. Yeah, I got 8.5 to 1. Win only, of course. Now I'm a little worried because Byron is the king of placement bets. You know, you got to follow him, go to his shit. He's a king. But when was the last time he hit an outright? Did you get one last week?
No, bro. I had Rico and I had Taylor. Like when
like you're always close. I know you got like multiple people every week, like sitting in that top 5. And I know your placement shit
I'm the new
is the best, but it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's
and so maybe because maybe this will work. Since I've been, all right this year, like 7 outrights. Each week's have been great.
Yeah.
But then 7 outrights, maybe since we're both colluding this week, it happens. Because I do like Decky, and he can play in Japan. I know it's got to be hard for him sometimes. He moved to America, and he has a 7-year-old secret child that nobody knows about. He does. His kid's 7 years old now, like going into the 3rd grade. And did anyone even know Hideki has a child?
That up and down game is good.
Did anyone know he's even married? He's been married for like 10 years. I
didn't even know he's married.
Yeah, he's that private. He's that private. And like that's why he has a partial residence in America now. And I think that makes him a lot happier because in Japan he's being followed like a fucking maniac, right? With the Japanese press. When you go to media events, every event that Hideki plays, and we saw it. I mean, it wasn't just Hideki when we were there, but there's going to be mad Japanese media at that place. You know what I'm saying?
Whole squad.
Yeah. They're going to be rolling. And maybe, I don't know, it just seems like he found his comfort zone this year, right? He's at, 5 top 10s in his last 10 events or something like that, some number like that. With the 2 wins this year. The guy's playing good golf. He's coming. It was last time when the Olympics were in Japan, he was in the playoff for the bronze, right? So he's won the ZOZO before. So I don't think you have to worry about the Japanese thing. And the crazy thing is I have 3 Japanese guys on my card because something like almost 20% of the top 20s since 2019 at this event, not including 2020, which is in America, but the ones played in Japan were Japanese players. Almost 20%.
That's crazy.
At this event have been top 20 Japanese players. And so I got a couple of long shots there, but my next play is going to be a couple of 50, around 50 to 1, 55 to 1. And a little bit older guys, a little bit experienced guys who, have traveled the world before, who know how to handle it, who have a routine, who know what they're doing. I'm going to go Gary Woodland, 50 to 1 with 8 places. We've seen him thrive in shorter courses, placement type courses. Even though he is a long hitter, he plays well at less than driver type courses. He's been playing really good golf. The top 10 coming in last week, coming into this event. I do like him at 50 to 1 with 8 places. He tends to play difficult courses well. So I am a fan of him this week. Like in the ranking, what is he like? He's up there when it comes to tougher courses. Now, my next one, this one, it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. Ricky Fowler, 55 to 1, 8 places. Again, this little 3-week stretch that he's had here recently, the last 3 times out, he is looking pretty good. If you take his number, let me try and find him here, Ricky Fowler. When it comes to finishes, and he has, there's a little narrative of play. He's very, very proud of his Japanese custom. He wants to play well when he's overseas at this event. He has a couple of decent finishes, if I remember. I mean, I don't think anything like super. Wait, did he finish runner-up once? Hold on. Why don't you look that up for me while I looked up when it comes down to the last, couple of events that he's played.
Yeah, 2022 he finished second, but outside of that, it hasn't been better than 44th.
So he's come here, finished second, and then if you look at his numbers, I mean, his iron game his ball striking has been really, really good, really good.
He had his best driving round in round 1 of his since 2017.
Yeah,
last week.
I'm gonna go. Maybe it's redemption time for him. I'm hoping for a place for him at 55 to 1. I know it's a little bit off the wall, but again, outside of the top 10 in this field, it's pretty wide open, right? And it's not like those guys up top are juggernauts. It's not like it's Scotty. Xander, you might have to worry about a little bit, but I think it can happen. I think this could be the week. I do like Ricky Fowler, 55 to 1, and then I'm going with the 2 deep shot outrights. First one's going to be Kanaya. If you look at his good course history, decent course history, I think he has 1 good finish here. But he has a win and multiple top 5s in the Asian Tour in the last month and a half. The guy's been just kicking ass when it comes down on that tour. He's been playing exceptionally well. And then you go Hirata at 90 to 1 with 8 places, 3 wins and a top 5 in his last 6 events. Okay? You know what I'm saying? He finished 6th here last year, his first time playing this event. 90 to 1. Three wins, and we saw a guy, a bunch of wins on a lower tour, come in and win the event, win his 2nd event in, right? We've seen it very recently with McCarty, right? And I know the Japanese tour or the Korean tour or whatever tour he's playing on, you know what I'm saying, is not close to the Corn Ferry. But we've seen this shit happen recently. we should probably try and see if it can happen again. I don't know if he can win, but give me the placement points at 8-1 for like 20-1 on like a, what did I bet? Enough. I bet enough. I should win like 3. That should cover the majority of what I'm betting this week if he places. So I like that one. Those are going to be my 5 bets. Do you have any more?
FanDuel's got 150-1 out there for him. So lots to like about. Right. Kensei Hirata. Can you know who you're speaking about, right?
Yeah, Hirata, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go, baby. Hey, at that price, I mean, that's like you're sprinkling. You're not going too crazy there anyway. So we got some fun stuff going on.
Okay. Kanaya. Last 3 starts, 4th, 1st, 2nd.
Boom. 110-1 FanDuel. Let's go. Yeah. But you're not getting placements there. So that's the thing.
Yeah, I'm getting 100. I think I'm getting 70 on Kanaya for 8 places. And I'm getting 90 on Hirata for 8 places at Bet365.
Boom. Okay. I love it. Let's go, Kenny. All right. So I got some Bablas, boys, and then I'll get into half of my bets that I've placed so far. I'll let off the others on the show tomorrow. So I've got a little top 20 parlay here for 9-1, plus 923. Sung Jae Im, Tom Hoagie, Siwoo Kim, and Sahith Theegala. So Tom Hoagie's actually, like, what I like to do with these bets is go 3 guys that are like in the negative odds and, guys that I'd like to go to, but just aren't quite there, but they do have good top 20 numbers. Tom Hoagie is plus 125 for a top 20. So I will be betting him single stake as well. Dude, Tom Hoagie, if you take a look at his like track record, when I track these bets, top 5, top 10, top 20, he's lost all the money in the world, top 5, top 10s. He doesn't finish inside the top 10. But man, does he finish inside the top 20. Because that's where he just feels comfortable. So plus 125 in a 78-man field for Tom Hoagie, let's go, baby. So
he was my fade of the week last week at 15% owned. And he missed the cut. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, thanks. Top 20 there didn't work out for me either, but I like him this week. I think in a small field like this, you're getting plus money on a guy who's been mega profitable in that market. Let's freaking go. So I'll be playing him as well. And then Siwoo Kim, minus 110 for a top 20. Siwoo's putter is ass, unless it's President's Cup. So the ball striking is great, but the putter not. That allows you to get inside the top 20, but it doesn't allow you to get inside the top 10. So we're getting some really nice numbers on his top 20 market as well. So Tom Hoagie, plus 120, plus 125, and Siwoo at minus 110 for my top 20 bets there. I'll be rattling off a few other top 10s and a top 5 or 2 on my show tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, back 9 bets, baby.
Before we get to the course, 2 questions for you, Byron. Are you taking into account long layoffs, President's Cup withdrawal, like this syndrome? You got to think these guys are so hyped. So it'll be on that golf course, and then coming down to a normal tournament, it's got to be sort of like a buzzkill. And then, or worried about guys who played last week who's traveling.
I think these guys, they go over all the time and do this kind of stuff.
This one's a big difference. What is it, like 17 hours, 16 hours?
Well, what? They're flying from Vegas, right? Yeah. So it's over the Pacific. So you're not flying like, I don't know, you're not flying from the East Coast.
Oh, it's true. So the flight's not that far. Okay, I forgot about that. But the time difference, I wonder what the time difference is. I'll check it while you keep going.
Yeah. What was the other question that come down from the President's Cup? Well,
President's Cup last week and
yeah. So I had my come down from the President's Cup for a week and a half afterwards. I was in a massive pit of misery there, dilly. But I'm over that now. I feel like it's been long enough that they've gone back to their routine. I think everything's fine. What was it, Kenny? Almost 3-4 weeks ago. So
yeah,
that's all good. So I think I like guys playing right after these kind of things because there's this confidence, there's this zest, there's this excitement about being part of that team. You've seen all these guys come off of these President's Cups and then just rush, or the Ryder Cups, like Scotty Scheffler. Remember when Scotty went on and
people didn't think he should have made a team?
Yes, and then he beat John Rahm, and then after that, Scotty went on a tear. That was what sent him into the next stratosphere. Right after that Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits, I think. So, that these things get these guys momentum going, and I'm a big believer in that. So let's go. Siwoo.
Any worry about guys who haven't played stroke play events since the Tour Championship? So so you sort of answered that with your last question. But I mean, I guess the only person that really hasn't is Justin Thomas.
Yeah, JT. Davis Thompson, I had a massive concern about as well, but
He balled out last week, right?
Balled the fuck out. Let's go. So I think these guys are they're playing bunny matches probably for heavy cash in the off time. They're staying sharp. They're not going to show up to a tournament and just kind of knock the rust off. They want to dominate. So I don't have a concern with that. But also, there might be some guys that are that way. Who the heck knows? I mean, this is golf. You could just show up and just suck out of nowhere. So who knows? But yeah.
All right, sounds good. Let's get to the course for this week. PGA Tour heads to Japan for the ZOZO Championship from Accordia Golf Narashino Country Club. This is a 78-man field no-cut event. Fourth time this course has ever hosted a PGA Tour event. Chapultepec, Harbor Town, East Lake, Colonial, those type of courses have been brought up as, similar type courses to what we're going to see here. Tiger won in 2019 at minus 19, but only like a handful of golfers were under par or double-digit under par. The 2 years when Keegan and Decky won, they were at minus 15. If you're looking at numbers, don't pay attention to 2020, because that is when Patrick Cantlay won, but that was in Sherwood Country Club, I think in California because of COVID. So that is not on this course. And then and then last year, Kawa won at minus 14, won by 6 strokes. The second place, Eric Cole, who finished minus 8. So only one guy, double-digit under par. This is not your typical, cakewalk birdie fest that we have seen these last couple of weeks. It sort of definitely changes the way you look and approach what you're going to do with DFS. I mean, you bring down birdie or better a little bit, you rise up bogey avoidance a little bit, stuff like that. We haven't really taken into account around the green that much. These greens are sort of tiny. You're going to miss these. So it's bringing more stuff that's into it than what we've seen in the last, months of regular golf that's not been the President's Cup. All right, so Narashino Golf Club is a 7,100-yard par 70, 5 par 3s, 3 par 5s, not your typical par 70. The five par 3s are all relatively short, none over 191 yards. Par 3 efficiency from 175 to 200, not the worst thing to look at here. There will be plenty of birdies on the par 3s because none of them are like crazy difficult. 2 of the par 5s should be reachable by most, and a 600-plus yard 14th will only be reachable by the longer hitters, and that one will actually have different greens each day, and I'll go over that here in a second. The par 4 distances are very unique. 5 of the par 4s are under 425 yards, and 5 are over 480. Nothing in between. Very, very strange. You either got short dogleg holes where you're definitely not using the driver, or you're going to use a driver or a 3-wood on these long ones, and par is like a good thing. One thing about the longer par 4s, though, is you don't have as many hazards on that. Like, just something I've noticed watching this tournament over the years. I don't think there's any water on the long par 4s. There might be one, but it's just less trouble off the tee and around the green on those longer par 4s. Off the tee, golfers are going to see tight tree-lined fairways that tend to get more narrow after the 280-yard range with fairway bunkers and water in a few holes. This sort of leaves me like TPC Highlands, something like that, like up in Connecticut. Like King and Bradley said, it reminded him of golf at home when he was a kid. He said that the year he won, narrow parkland, tree line, that type of stuff. It definitely gets more narrow after the 280 range, a lot on this course. Fairway bunkers, water, couple holes. The rough isn't, actually, I think there's one on 6 holes, not a couple. The rough isn't too long, but with zoysia grass, the lie can be unpredictable. A bit of luck is always needed. You don't see zoysia very much. I think East Lake and maybe one more. St.
Jude, Biddick St. Jude, I think. And South Memphis.
Yep. Those are going to be your zoysia courses on tour. You need luck because, that shit can stand up real nice on that, or it can just sink to the bottom. And even if it's like 2.5 inch rough, and it sinks to the bottom, that's just going to fuck up your yardages, right? You fly or lies galore. So it's a lot of luck involved in this rough. Now, even though the fairways aren't tight, are tight, a slight miss is not too troublesome outside of the rough we just talked about, because the tree line's usually about 10 yards away from the edge of the fairway. Now, on approach shots, golfers are going to see 2 greens on every hole. It's like a Japanese thing. That's how like the Japanese people roll in a lot of their courses, because they'll use 2 greens to keep like the traffic off the greens, right? And so you see the foot traffic keep these greens more pristine. And you see this at this course. Now, only 1 green is going to be used all week, except for the 4th. I think the 14th or the 4th. I might have written 4. Should have been 14th. I'm not sure. I think it is the 4th. But it's going to have different greens each round, which is always going to be fun, right? And the thing is, if you land on the other green, you get a free drop. Nearest point of relief, you get a free drop if you land on the other green. Now, it depends which greens they use, but they've used the small-ass greens every single year, and I expect them to use the small-ass greens. Once again, they are small compared to a tour average. Now, as complicated as that is, the one thing, the bent grass greens, they are bent grass. Those are going to be like a big defense of the course. Because the problem with these, there's a lot of contour. Like, you don't normally see like a lot of slope, a lot of undulation, a lot of contour on like tiny, tiny greens, because that limits where you can put the cup, right? And they don't want to make shit the same all the time, right? It limits that. But I guess you don't give a fuck here, because there's been some fucked up pin locations at this event, right? Like the greenskeeper woke up just angry. Like, him and the wife had a fucking fight. He had to sleep on a goddamn couch all night, even though she knew he had to get up at 4 a.m, 3 a.m, to get to the course and get the shit done, right? So his back is certainly like, fuck life. I'm putting that shit right fucking here. Everyone's seen a cup like that. If you played golf long enough, you're like, what the fuck was the greens dude doing this morning? Like, how? Why? This is so. What do you want? 5.5-hour rounds? Is that what you're looking for? Like, everyone's seen this happen, and it's happened at this event. So that is a pretty big part of this. The 3-putt avoidance, even on small greens. These are tough greens. 11.5 on the stip. But that much like undulation, it's pretty quick. Yeah. These greens can get tough. The weather usually plays a little bit windy, but it looks sort of nice this week. I think you might see better scoring. Maybe like something we saw the first year, 2019, with Tiger being like in the high teens, and there was still a good handful of people, in double-digit under par. I don't think we'll see like 14 under and 8. But the one thing that changed last year, I'm glad I caught myself on this, is the greens were remarkably faster. Okay? That could have been the cause of a lot of the issues. I need to go back and look at the green and regulation percentage last year compared to not the green and regulation, the fairways hit percentage compared to the years before. Because I know Moore Powell last year was talking about how quickly the ball was rolling on these fairways, on the drive. And it really made people have to really think about their clubs a lot more. And so maybe that's why it was so difficult last year. And there was like 15-mile-per-hour winds. I don't see nothing but like 20-mile-per-hour gusts Sunday. Okay, and of course, I don't usually look at weather. But after last week, I had to look. Okay, after last week, I had to look. So we'll see. What are you looking for in golf?
Driving accuracy was 48% last year, Kenny. And the year before that, it was 56%. So
that's a pretty fucking big difference.
Yeah, it's a pretty big difference.
That's a
8%
huge difference. Yeah. That is a huge difference then. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you covered the majority of what your course breakdowns, Kenny, are clutch, unless I'm sending them to you in Montreal.
The peakness of my high, like my high just started. And sometimes when you catch that buzz, like shit just flows so much easier. Like, especially shit that you've done like over the years, and like it becomes sort of routine and blasé, and you just like, but when that high hits like at the right moment, it just feels good. You can go off on a tangent. I thought that was better than normal. Anyways, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, when you went off on the tangent about the greenskeeper, that was awesome too. So,
see, I don't
all right,
remember that.
So 5 to 15 feet for putting. If it's slopey as shit and these greens are small, these are the putts you're going to be having, is these 5-footers, 10-footers, 15-footers that you have to be good from. And that range of putting is the most predictive of all putting ranges, maybe inside 5 feet as well. But from 5 to 15 feet, that is easily the most correlatory metric that you can find on the putting surfaces versus like 15 feet and out. It's just the variability comes in so much more the further away you go. So from 5 to 15 feet, go, filter in on that stuff. In my model, it's all there for you guys at Rotoballer. You can use that to find out what's going on in bent grass surfaces too.
And you know what? Hold on. Speaking of your model, let's go ahead and say this now because I think a lot of people listen to this part. So before they tune out and me going crazy, let's go ahead and do a comments winner again.
Yeah, baby.
Let's go. I know in the fall it's going to be the best time for you guys to do it because there'll be like 3 of you. Okay, there'll be like 3 of you. So every week, Byron, I forgot what this was going to be. You tell him what.
All right. So what you're going to go do? Hit us with who's going to win this golf tournament in the comments below. If someone's already commented your guy, the first comment will be the comment that receives my model. I'll DM you the model on X. Reach out to me somehow. Or, if you don't have X and you feel comfortable leaving your email or something, I can get it to you that way. However you want me to contact you, if you don't have Twitter, I will get you the model for the winner that chooses the winner this week.
There you go. And you'll go up against us in a 3-man. How about that?
And a 3-man.
Make it fun. You can go up against the guys in a 3-man, and if you win that, we'll give you something else. We'll figure it out. Figure it out. But for now, you get the Byron's model. I mean, you get his models, and, he just brings them all the information real quickly. Like, I just asked him a question. He brought it up in like a minute, less than a minute. Real quick, real good models. Check out his show, Bat 9 Bets, every Tuesday night. And so make sure you go comment the winner on our YouTube page and subscribe to Mayo Media Network. Keep going there, Byron. Sorry to interrupt.
I don't know what I was talking about. What
you're looking for? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, the putting from 5 to 15 feet there. And then, like you said, those 5 par 3s all in that specific proximity from 150 to 200 yards. If you want to just hone in on guys that are like for DFS and just hope that they crush those par 3s, that is a great way to get different too, because I just filtered on some guys and there's Mac Masner, Ben Silverman, all like just hanging out inside the top 10 there with this kind of proximity numbers. So you can definitely find things getting different in that department. And then course history, not the greatest correlation at this venue. So, you're trying to more so course fit a golfer to this than a course history. We spoke about this last week, where course fit, you're trying to piece the pieces of this puzzle together so that it makes sense for this golf course. Looking at course history doesn't nearly come as beneficial as last week, where I think JT Poston has like 2 top 5s at this golf course over the last few years. So, that's what happened. So, yeah, those are some simple things there. Ball strikers for days. This golf course is a ball striker's paradise.
Elite golfers, ball strikers, right? I mean, the winners here, Tiger Woods, Keegan Bradley, Hideki Matsuyama, Colin Morikawa.
Boom.
So that leads us right into this 10K tier. Like, how do you pick and choose here? What are you doing in the 10K range? Who are you fading?
I am definitely playing a deck. I love a deck. I might fade Xander. I know it sounds weird, Kenny, and I just went and said that course history doesn't matter. But man, this guy hasn't finished better than 9th in the last 5 years. He's 11-5, second best golfer in the world right now. So I understand that. But something about him at this venue, like that's what you don't have to take everything and apply it to every golfer. Like course history doesn't make sense at this golf course, but some golfers just suck at certain golf courses. They have their own micro course history. Xander, 38th, 9th, 28th, 17th, and 10th. That's in 78-man fields. Like something about Japan, he just doesn't get it. So give me Hideki. Give me the cheap 10K guys, Hideki and Saif. I'll go with those 2 boys.
There's 2 ways I could go about this because I already locked in Colin and Hideki as my first 2 cash game cornerstones. So pretty easy. I'm going to go with the elite golfers. You look at the guys who won this event. It's the top of the class. And these guys are 4 or 5 at the top of the class in this field, which is probably heads and tails better than everybody else. And so I'm going to go stick with those two guys. They both play amazing golf. They've both been playing amazing golf. Xander was incredible at the President's Cup. Hideki looked like he had more fun than anyone, and he was the best international player at the President's Cup. Like I said, he's had 5 top 10s in his last 10, 12 events. Xander's some crazy numbers out there. Oh, not Xander. Morikawa. He's had that one, sort of fell off a little bit after that, but he's still playing good golf. He played well. I'm sorry. I was thinking about Xander. I'm talking about Morikawa now, which is actually in my cash game cornerstones. But I'm going to go with those two guys as my cash game cornerstone. So as a rule, I have to play both those guys 20% minimum in GPPs, right? And so I've sort of broken the rule where I don't go higher than 20%. For elite golfers, I mean, last week, Pendrith, he was in my cash game cornerstones, and I had him at 60% of my GPPs. It worked out okay. Top 10 is not horrible out there for it, and I had some chances in GPPs. I was inside the top 50 again of another GPP going into Sunday. I think I was triple the field once again in 6 of 6, like way more. Maybe not triple the field, like 2.5, double the field in 6 of 6. I think I was like 22%. I definitely think the $5 was the lowest. I think it was around 7 or 8. So I'm close to 3 times. And so another good week out there.
I'll ask you a question, Ken, about contest selection in a smaller field like this.
Okay. I'm horrible at that.
Okay.
You should select contests better based upon like payout and stuff. And Tampa was a big proponent of this. I'm just trying to hit a lottery ticket. I'm just playing a $5 like 42 times. All right.
Because
I win 25K. All right. I'm just trying to that's not the best way to play GPPs. Okay. I can tell you that right now. We've had shows in the past where we've had Tambo break down like, stuff like that. And so, also on Gump's Corner, we have I think we have a guide, or something like that when it comes down to it. If you want to know like what to do, or we have something, I'm sure. And I'm sure Rotoballer does too. I mean, all the sites have something that about contest, picks. But I don't play the right way. I'm just going for the lottery ticket. So you should not ask me any question like that.
Yeah. So like when the field's small like this, I tend to want to kind of stick to like 3 entry maxes and single entries and kind of just increase your buy-in, decrease your player pool. And at the same time, you can kind of almost not go to Xander at 11.5 because in the smaller contests, although Xander might be a great golfer this week, you could still get away with not having him in your lineup and win this thing because there's so little people in the contest that have, like an opportunity to play Xander. So if they play him, the other remaining salary that you have to kind of put in there is so much less, and you don't have as many combinations to get those 5 guys right as a big GPP that has a Xander, right? So,
but let me piggyback on that because this is the conundrum that I'm going to have this week when it comes to Xander, because I'm thinking about fading him too. If both of us are thinking about fading him, Decky might be 40% owned, and then that would leave. I would think maybe we could get Xander like 20. Right? Around there, maybe 20, which is pretty low for him, in my opinion, for as the number 2 golfer in the world. It's all, correlated between how good of a golfer you are and how much real ownership is chalk. I don't think like 20% Xander, even though he would be like top 5, maybe it would be. I don't know. That's why GPPs aren't my thing, and I stick with cash. But the conundrum I have is if he's going to be 20% owned or less, 22% owned or less, that's just something in my head, a number I'm putting out, okay? I think I might go 60% of them and be triple the field, right? And then I just go 20% Kawa, 20% Hideki, and I stay in my rules. Because I think, yes, you can make lineups a lot easier without him because there's $1,000 difference. That's pretty big. It's like 10%, in this field. But he's such a good golfer that if he's going to be, what if he's in the teens? What if he's like 15 to 18%?
Okay, the last time Xander was 15% was 2020 though, and that was at the Sherwood.
Really?
Yeah. So 35%, 35% last year at $11,100, 31% at 11K in 2021, and then 24%, in 2022 at 10.8. So he's probably going to be 20 something.
That's crazy that he was higher owned, the higher price to us.
Yeah, because it's such a small field and such a top heavy field. The guys are just locking these dudes in. So
I think in these type of fields, it's easier to click that number because you don't have to worry about a cut. That's why I'm going 2 studs, 10K studs in my cash, because I think both of them can easily get top 5. Both would easily win.
Yes,
and so that's what I'm doing. And I think I think most people are gonna have that same. So maybe you're right. Maybe he will be high owned. If he's 30%, I'm going to fade him. I'll go ahead and fade him. I'll go on your course history, even though we said the course history doesn't really matter too much. Sometimes you fit the narrative to your needs. Okay,
immediately.
That's just the way it works. Yeah. That's just the way it works. Okay, all right. So, I think it's going to be ownership dependent. If it's under 22%, I'm going to go 60% Xander. If he's over 30%, I mean, he's over 22%. If he's over,
what are you going to do in the middle? Are you going to match the field or like?
What am I going to do in the middle? I have no idea. I don't know. We'll have to talk. We'll have to think more about it when I'm not so stoned right now. Because the problem is like that good high that I had. I ate like 200 milligrams today before the show, and so that was a really solid buzz when I was doing the course preview. It's getting slightly overwhelming.
Okay,
right
let's
now.
go.
So let's
get into the
9K range right now.
I'll lead you, Kenny.
Go ahead.
I'll lead the rest of the show. Now, go. Hit me with the 9s.
So 9s, if I'm going to go heavy up top, because you even talk about Thielen, because I would think if I'm not going to play Xander, I'll play all 3 of the rest of the guys. All right, because my bankroll's already committed to Decky and Kawa. I could play them 25, 20% each, whatever, and then play, or 30% each, and play Thielen of 40 and be way overweight on him. And play that type of game theory. Which is, you know what, I've actually been doing a lot more of. Maybe that's why I've been getting at least I've had a couple of lineups in the running here a lot more recently, happening a lot more recently. So a lot of it comes down. So make sure you check it out Wednesday, because those will be my final thoughts.
Okay, I'll ask you this, Kenny. Do you think Colin or let's just go with Hideki and Seth. Do you think one of them what are the chances one of them beats Xander this week? Is it a 50% chance? The 2 of them versus Xander? 2 great golfers.
At least. It's probably more than that.
Right. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, if Xander's going to be 33% and you got a 50 plus 60, 75% chance of, let's go with 65% chance of Seth and Hideki kind of beating Xander this week, why not? Why are you not going to put them in there?
The only thing is I think Decky would be the second highest owned. I think Decky might
I'll pull your stuff up while you're going through the 9s, but
that sounds good. But I'm keeping it light on the 9s. I mean, Kurt Kitayama at 9,300. He impressed me this past week. I didn't think really the course was that suited for him, especially since it was more accuracy based, than length, and he's a bomber. But he's been playing like really good. I mean, really some solid finishes here in his last few events. I think he played well here last year too. I think he has top 10 here last year, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes it says something. It's been his iron game that has been exceptional, gaining 7.4 at the 3M. I know that was a long time ago, but the last 2 events, 10.6 strokes gained with his irons at Black Desert, 6.3 strokes gained with his irons at the Shriners. So like his average in 3 of the last 4 is like 8 strokes gained. With his approaches, I'm going to go ahead and use him at 9,300. If I was going to go balanced in cash, he would have been my second cash game cornerstone behind Decky. So that's how much I like Kitayama. And he might be the only guy I play in the 9K range because I might go so top heavy where I'm going to start a lot of shit with like a couple of guys up there, like I did with my cash game cornerstones. that might be what I do for this week. Again, we'll have to think it out as the week goes on. But Sung Jae's another guy I'm thinking of, but I'm wearing his jersey. I'm rocking his shit. Kickbackgolf.com. Use promo code FGD15. But I'm not 100% sure on Sung Jae. Can you want to sell or buy Sung Jae this week?
Man, he looked good at the President's Cup as well, Kenny. And I think, if you take a look at Sahith, all of these guys in the 10K range, all top 5 of them were at the President's Cup, so there's not that much rust on these dudes. So I like Sung Jae. I like his game for this golf course. I think he's starting to find his groove again. There's a lot to like about him, man. I'm a big fan of him at 9.8. Justin Thomas at 9.5 as well, dude. This guy is starting to find his game as well. He grades out the best for me for the different comp courses that I had. Number 1 in the field for that. So he's the dude. And he's great at ball striking, like we said, and around the greens, fantastic. So the putting, he comes and goes with that. So give me JT and Sung Jae at the top there for sure. I'm out on Kurt and Siwoo for like GPPs. Kurt Kuriyama hasn't finished out of the top 5 in forever, like 14 months now. He was in the final group last week, finished 8th or 7th or something. If you're looking at someone trying to get you, he's getting there. Oh, sure. But there's other guys that you can go to that will provide you with that. Sung Jae, one of them. Siwoo, not so much. So, yeah, those are my 2 guys in the top here. I think I'm going to have to kind of do stars and scrubs as well because I'm not too fond of the guys in the bottom of this 9K range.
What about 8K range? Go ahead.
Well, Hassler has the best course history at this venue. And I know said course history doesn't matter, but you've played well, yeah, you're probably going to play well again. That's what Bo's up to, and he's playing some goddamn good golf right now. Got a little bit of probably some ownership relief after a bad performance last week. I don't mind that at all, so I'll go back to, I wasn't on him last week, so I'll gladly go to him now at $8,900. And then Max Griesemann. I sent a tweet out earlier. Max Griesemann is more higher priced and has shorter odds to win the tournament than Max Homa. Who would have thought there would be another Max ever in a field that has...
Wouldn't he have like a couple like top 5s?
Yeah, the guy's been balling out, man. Yeah, he finished second at the 3M, second at the Wyndham.
This high.
Yeah, second at the Wyndham, second at the 3M. 2 of his last 3 starts, and then 21st at the Scottish. 33rd at the St. Jude. He's doing okay things.
If he's popular, I'm fading him.
Oh, yes. It's all about popularity and things like that, but he's probably...
double-digit owned. I'm fading.
Yeah, I haven't.
Actually, I'm just fading him.
Let's go. Let's go, dude.
I'm just fading.
I will also be fading Tom Hoagie in GPPs because, like I said, when you got Tom Hoagie out here doing wonderful, 34%, 38% of the time finishing inside the top 20, but only 6% of the time top 5, he's going to be
worth the squeeze, my friend. I understand.
No. So maybe a cash game guy, but we'll see. So what's your thoughts on Doug Gim? $8,600.
I want to play the fuck out. He's number 1 on my mind. Numero uno. When it comes down to exceptional with his wedges, hits fairways, avoids bogeys, really good on those par 3 distances I was talking about. I think he's first in strokes gained approach in the last 24 rounds in this field, coming off a runner-up. I'm not going to overthink it. Normally, I'd overthink it. I'd be like, he's mentally drained. That was the closest he's ever gotten to a win. Now he's going to fly across the sea. 16-hour time difference. That's what I normally would think. But right now, I'm not going to think like that. I did think like that right now, but right now, I'm not going to think like that because I'm going to go ahead and play him. I'm going to play Doug Gim. He's been playing good golf. He is my namesake. There is no hard K in Korean language, so Gim is the same as my last name, Kim. I will play him this week. This range for me is going to come down to if I play Xander or not. If I play Xander, I'll probably use a good amount of players in this range. If I don't, I'll probably do 2 or 3 of the 9 and 10K guys in every one of my lineups, and I remove this area, this price range from a lot of the people that I'm going to play. The only one I know, honestly, Hostler is the only one I know I will play. So far, you already talked about him. I will play the Slave Whipper. Speaking of Denzel and the single tier, Gladiator 2, I'm hearing amazing shit, like movie of like the decade, like best movie. I'm hearing like this shit better be fucking good because I'm hearing like Oscar #2 for Denzel, like after the tier, another one here. I mean, I can't wait. Anyway, have you seen the latest trailer?
No,
OT.
I haven't. Yeah, we'll OT it.
All right, that's fine. All right, let's go.
So we are already in OT.
7K. Anybody else in the 8K range?
I mean, Seamus, short golf course.
Thought about him.
You know, struggled a bit last week. I think you could probably find some ownership leverage on him there, but he came in seriously high owned last week. So $8,100. We'll see what he can do. And then Harry Hall is interesting. You know, I think he was flirting around the top of the board there last week as well. $8,000 flat. We'll see what he's up to. And then JJ Spahn for me, I think I'll be going back to him at $8,300, although he let me down with the top 10 bet. He was like inside the top 10 the whole week, and then Sunday just kind of... So I like JJ and Seamus in particular at the bottom here.
Sounds good. 7K range. I like Gary Woodland for my final cash game cornerstone. I already talked about how good he is on shorter courses, a top 10 last week at the Shriners, playing good golf over his brain scare, which is crazy. I've told the story. He had a lesion on his brain, which made him scared all the time.
Yeah.
They couldn't turn it off for like 6
Pressing
months.
That he was going to die, right?
He thought he was going to die every day for 6 months, but he's back. Really good finish last week. I like him on these short type courses. His iron game has been exceptionally strong. He's been avoiding those bigger numbers as well. So he is my final cash game cornerstone. The 4 that I'm going with this week are going to be Hideki Matsuyama at 10,200. Forgot Colin Morikawa at 10,500. You know what? And my final Gary Woodland at 7,800, and we're going down to the 7K range at the very bottom. Harada at 7,000. We already talked about him earlier with his amazing finishes here recently. I think 3 wins in the top 5 in his last 7 events. With a 6th place finish here at 7K as one of my lowest price golfers, I can go ahead and throw him in there because, again, this is a no-cut event. So, you can go find some birdie makers down and go maybe even 2 guys in the 6K range, which is something I would never, ever recommend in a regular field cut event. But in a field like this, shit, if you want to go Xander and somebody else high, JT or something, I wouldn't mind going down the 2 guys in the 6K range that you could play. But who do you like in the 7K range?
Rico Hoey, baby. I mean, what a great performance from him last week. Big fan of him. I'm hoping he can probably get it done soon. Maybe he might be one of my outrights. I added him in the round 1 after the Summerlin tournament. So Jonathan Vegas, Kenny, he's basically a Gary Woodland, but a Colombian version of him. He can just club down and hit that 3-iron, 270 yards and call it a day. Incredible out of thick rough from long distances. Love that as well. Great pop.
I didn't like the +5 on Sunday.
Bro, I had him in my single $44, which is like a lot for me to, put into a single entry. And I had JT, I had Pendrith, I had all the boys in the mix, and then Vegas, bro. Like, what was that nonsense? Anyway, we're going back to the well. See what he can do for us. Victor Perez is a $7,500 golfer that you can get behind there. And then Rio Hitsatsuni. If you take a look at what he got up to here in the last 2 years, 12th and 6th, and then we've got a 3rd at the Wyndham and a 25th at the Black Desert. I mean, he's starting to find his groove. He's a Japanese guy, obviously comfortable on this golf course. Let's see what he's up to. And then Ben Silverman, Charlie Hoffman, and your boy Kensei. I'll be after those 3 at the bottom of the 7K range.
Okay, so bottom of this range, I like a lot of Japanese dudes, right? We already talked about Kanaya up there with, 3 straight top 5s, including a win. Harada, we already talked about as my final cash game cornerstone down there with a win, 2 wins, 3 wins, something like that, and a top 5 in his last 7, right? Again, Japanese golfers have finished in the last 4 times this course has been played at this course. They've accounted for almost 20% of the top 20s. And top 20 from a guy down here, not horrible. Could be your worst guy in the GPP winning lineup down here. So I like him. Another guy, Imahara, is another guy down here. I think we're going down to the 6K range. Wins 6th and a 5th in his last 3 attempts. He's played this course a bunch, all 4 times. Hasn't finished that great, but he's on fire. His current form, 5th, 6th, and 1st. You can't really beat that, except for the other Japanese guys that I just talked about. I'm gonna play Ricky Fowler. I have a feeling in him this week. His iron game has been strong. He's been last week. I think he's gained in every strokes gained metric in the last 2 events, except last week around the green. Everything else has been net positive with his strokes. So Tee to green, he's been great, except for a little bit of a hiccup last week around the green. I will play KH Lee again, sort of a sneaky finish last week, coming back. Familiar with the area, has played this course, has played well last week, used to traveling this distance. So I'll go ahead and use him. More 6K guys. Ben Cole's 5. He just rates out high in my model. That's why I go with him. And he was up near the top of the leaderboard at one point in time. I don't think he finished very well. But approach game strong, birdie strong, really good from 125 to 150. You're going to see a shit ton of approaches from 125 to 150. Fairways gain, he's actually the best in the field in the last, in the last 24 rounds. That's going to help him a lot. Other guys in the 6K range, Chad Ramey with a good outing last week. After that, it gets sort of slim. Who do you like in this 6K range?
If you're looking for a guy that's going to be like hyper accurate off the tee and kind of just get it done with some short game, Zach Blair is the dude that you're looking for over there. I think he can definitely pop at $6,400. Nico Echeverria also is, more of an accuracy over distance kind of guy. So if he can get it together for me, I'll be happy about that. Kenny, what's your take on Joel Damon? Like after carrying an extra 4-iron, getting a 4-stroke penalty to start his tournament, WDing in round 2, I wonder if he just decided, you know what? Probably not going to do this thing.
Yeah, he wasn't injured out there. He saw the weather forecast and was like, "Fuck this." Yeah, because of Friday, of course, was the blustery cold conditions in Vegas. So yeah, he made a mistake. Gino made the mistake. That can get a lot of caddies fired, but they're boys, and so I guess shit happens and he moves on.
Gino has put up with.
The problem is he's like borderline, right?
He's outside the top 125, right?
Yeah. So, he could lose his card because of that. So,
let's not pretend like he was going to do anything crazy. He's been playing like shit. So,
that's my thing. Like where he was, I think he was still under par if you didn't count the penalty stroke.
No, he was 1 over after the round without the penalty stroke. So he's not, and he sucks over the weekend anyway. So I don't know. I was just curious what your take was. He's
playing for a lot. He gets guaranteed points here.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. So, last guy is Taisei Shimizu. He is just a ball-striking beast at $6,100. We're going to hear some seriously fun pronunciations of these Japanese names on all the different shows across the industry, so have fun with that. I like him a lot at $6,100. Just if you've got one elite trait, give me that strokes gained approach for him, which is 7th in this field off a very small sample size. I understand, but hey, got to take a gamble. He's $6,100. Let's go see what he can do.
Maybe Ishikawa, who came in 4th last year, is coming in with an 8th place finish, his best finish in a while in Japan, and you get him really cheap. He could be someone to look at as well. Anybody else? Tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at X at the Model Maniac, and then grab me on Back 9 Bets tomorrow nights, Tuesdays, 7 Eastern, on Mayo Media Network. I'll be going through all my model stuff, kind of breaking it down, taking all your questions. We can deep dive any DFS golfers you want. If you want to place bets, I can help you do all that stuff too. And then use code MANIAC at rotoballer.com for all my stuff over there for a very, very nice time.
All right. Sounds good. You can find my shit on X at KendoVT. Find my article every week at gupscorner.com. Use promo code Kenny. Save yourself 30% on a sub to Gups Corner. Make sure you go to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Mayo. Get yourself a deposit bonus up to $1,000 for first-time users. Go to kickbackgolf.com. Use promo code FGD15. Get yourself 15% off all their cool merchandise. It's going to be a fun week. Primetime golf. I do love it. Let's win some motherfucking money. Degen Nation.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort. Stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words. I done popped the Molly and I think it's be my third. Jordan Belfort.
But I do want to see Gladiator. Have you seen the last trailer?
Of what? Gladiator?
Yeah, it came out like a couple weeks ago.
Mm-mm.
It looks incredible. And then I guess some people have already seen it. Some like film industry people, like a pre-broadcast, and they're saying like it's supposed to win like awards. And like,
Is it the same storyline or is it a different?
So no, from what I hear, it's a different character who's like but it's actually it is. I don't know if I should. Everyone should know by now. Okay, maybe I shouldn't spoil. And no one's listening to this shit, so fuck it. If you don't want to hear, spoiler alert, right here, just turn it off. So what I hear is that the main character is actually Maximus's son, not the one that died and got burnt. Of course, it's actually he banged that one princess bitch, right? You know, the real pale skin one, the main character. She's actually in this movie. She's like the only returning character from Gladiator 1. Because she's the mother, she's the mother of the dude, the main character, and so it's so he has like Maximus's blood. I don't know, and I don't know who. I think Denzel plays like the guy who owns the fighters, like that other guy with the beard and it looks like Feinberg a little bit, with the white hair and the beard, who was the owner of the fighters, and he actually freed Maximus after like Maximus won. Remember that guy? That's what Denzel's playing.
Okay,
is what I hear. And from what I hear, it's supposed to be incredible.
Yeah, I watched.
You've seen the first one, right?
But like 15 years ago, dude. Like I'll have to watch it again before I watch the next one. But
I mean, yeah, you were young. That movie came out when you were like 10, 11, 9. I couldn't even watch it.
Yeah, it was.
For me, I was like in college, right? It's like one of the most everlasting like movies like I've ever seen. Like when we first went to the theater, you're like, holy fucking shit, this movie's amazing. Like, you know, like when you first saw that speech where Russell Crowe turns around and takes off his mask. And he's like, I'm Maximilius, whatever, you know, legions to this. See, that big speech that he does when he takes off the mask and he lets Joaquin Phoenix know that it's Maximus. He's still alive. Like, that shit was fucking incredible at the theater. Like, it was like, I was like jaw on the floor. Like, I couldn't believe it. You know, 21 years old, 22 years old when the movie came out. It was incredible. Like, one of my favorite movies of all time. When the movie I'll never forget. And so and when they said that, you know what the original sequel was supposed to be about? It was supposed to be a time travel movie. Where Maximus is stuck in purgatory, and like he has to go back and like fight different battles from like he's supposed to like be in Vietnam, and like he fights in like the Revolutionary War, and then he fights Jesus or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was some crazy shit, wild. Go on Google and go like original Gladiator 2 script. It's from like the mid 2000s, and it is the wildest script that storyline. I'm not even kidding. You're gonna fight Jesus. It was amazing.
Hell,
like I wanted it to come out so badly because it would have been so horrific that it would have been like one of those movies you would just never forget how bad it was. And I wish it came out. Have you seen the new Daredevil trailer?
No. I've been watching The Penguin.
Okay. I'll start watching that. I'll watch that, and I'll get caught up. We can talk about that next year. Did you watch the original Daredevil?
Yes.
Did you, Mike? No? You didn't watch it?
No.
So, the new trailer that just came out at New York City Comic Con looks fucking incredible, too. It looks like they did not Disney-fy it, like, at all. It looks like it's actually, like, just as violent or even more violent than what you saw And maybe not. I mean, when Daredevil at the end of the season 3, when he punches big dude in the face like 8,700 times, while his girl is watching. How disrespectful was that shit? He's pounding on what the fuck is the villain's name? Now I'm losing my mind.
The Punisher? It wasn't the Punisher. It's not the Punisher. It's...
Vincent D'Onofrio. Who? In the white suit. Vincent D'Onofrio plays him when he punches him like 8,700 times in the face while his girl's watching. It was so disrespectful. But it looks like everyone's back in it, like Fozzie,
cool.
and all them. And so, yeah, definitely looking forward to watching that. But I'll catch up on Penguin, and we could talk about it next week. What do you like so much about it? I heard one of the episodes, episode 4, was one of the highest rated episodes in TV history.
It's so sick. I love a strong female hero, bro. It's just something about
that's
a
not
badass
what I
bitch.
expected.
Yeah,
really?
No,
it's not.
Sophia
is
just
who's playing Penguin, because
it's
like a good-looking dude.
Colin Farrell.
That
plays him, and I didn't even know that until I looked up the cast because I wanted to see who she was. It's How I Met Your Mother. That's who Sophia is the lady from How I Met Your Mother.
I never watched. I was a comedy fan. The only comedy fan I ever watched was recently. It was the Good Place. Great. Ooh. One of the greatest shows.
Very good.
If you haven't seen The Good Place, it's such a all the shows I watch are just so dark and violent, and I do enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's a lot of TV now. After successes of Soprano, Breaking Bad, stuff like that, Dexter, right? After all the success, that those shows had. I mean, that's what's coming out. It's a lot of dark ass shit. But every now and then you can watch a feel good type show. And The Good Place. 30-minute, 23-minute episodes. It's the only network TV show I've watched in the last 10 years, and it took me 3 years after it ended to watch it. It's a great show. I would highly suggest it. What are you watching right now? Oh, and this might you look tired.
Oh, yeah, I've also got to get to my next show too. So
I'm on last season of Lost right now. So I'm pretty amped up.
Oh, you've never watched it?
Ooh. Never. Don't say anything, please, because I'm.
So you've already seen
bro.
so you've already seen when they go back in time, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So and then what's your name? The blonde haired bitch dies. It's horrible. Yeah. I hate that. Yeah. And then now have you started the final season?
Yeah, I'm episode I think 2. So
now you've seen the Flash sideways. What do you think of the first 2 episodes of The Flash sideways?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Because it's not flashbacks anymore, because that could have really happened, right?
Yeah. We don't really know what's going on right now.
Yeah.
It could be real,
Yeah.
So fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah. But
that it's been explained to me a few times.
Yeah.
Where that is going. And I still can't click it in my mind. If I read it again, I could probably click that in my mind again. But okay. Now I remember. I won't ruin it. It just came back to me. Okay, it made me feel a lot better. Okay, now I remember why they did that.
Okay,
and it's very hard to understand, and you won't understand it the first time. But once you think about it, that it'll make it better because you're probably not gonna like it.
Okay.
You're probably when that shit first came out, it was 2000, I guess 12 was when maybe 2000. Yeah, I think around there was when it ended.
Yeah.
I mean, you were probably in your teens, right?
Yeah.
So,
playing Call of Duty all the time. I didn't watch any
caused
TV.
It caused a ruckus.
Okay.
People were very, very angry because they did not think it answered the question.
Okay.
I was one of them. And then the more I rewatch and read explanations and then rewatch, it's made it better.
Okay.
So just, even if you hate the ending, just think you have to watch it again.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
a big person of watching recaps and explanations of everything towards the end of a show. So Like I've been so good, like avoiding.
Okay, wait till
everything.
after the show then.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But you're going to do that.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to be so
I like deep dive
confused.
on YouTube all the time. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Do that right after because that shit, like you're going to be mind fucked.
Perfect.
When that shit comes on.
I love that.
Right.
Okay.
And then once you watch it, I'll explain and give you my take.
Okay.
On it.
Perfect.
Right.
It's a deal.
Have you watched Lost, Byron? You watched it, right?
I'm like 2 seasons in. I'm not. That's why I took my headphone out. I wasn't listening.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
All good.
You got to yell
it. Kenny took a while to get to what he was saying. I was like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think I spoiled anything. So you're good.
No.
Yeah.
I'm
good.
All right. Anything else? Are we good? My bad.
We are all
good, dude?
set.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, what are we naming this thing?
So I've got the world is soft except Arnie.
Okay.
Damn, Mike.
Like every Arnold Palmer fan's gonna fucking hate us for that one.
Wow.
That was a front runner, but I feel like there could be more.
Could be. That was all I got. I thought that was a mic drop moment, but if you guys have something else.
Oh no, yeah.
I'm not suggesting anything. That is top tier.
Perfect.
Because it hits 2. It's like a double entendre.
Exactly.
It's wonderful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All
All
right.
right. Till next week, guys.
All right, boys.
All right, sounds good.
See ya.